Welcome to Darren's Lit Reviews. In today's video, we're talking about just half of the Sword of Kaigen. As I may have said in my last video, that was the first book I decided to read on my reading journey, as I'm trying to read 20 books as someone that doesn't typically read if it's not manga. So I'm trying to read more traditional books. I still don't have a better term for that, so I'll just keep saying traditional books in quotation. This was a book that I honestly probably shouldn't have started off with. I know I did say that in my last video, and there's a bunch of reasons why I say that. But we're just gonna, jot down a few. And there's no spoilers in here. I plan on doing a spoiler review once I finish the book. I'm personally like 68% through, 70% through, something like that. So hopefully by not next week, but the week after, I'll have the book done and we can talk about it. With this story by M.L. Wang, I found out it's self-published. So my biggest gripe is that it felt as though there's just too much fluff in there. I felt like this could have been knocked down a lot. There's some times where it just feels as though a lot is being said, but nothing is really being portrayed. It's not that the book is bad. Like I still don't know where I would rate this book. And honestly, I can already tell I need to revisit this book once I finish it. Maybe like not immediately after, but I'm talking like next year, maybe the year after I got some more books under my belt. I haven't read fantasy since I was a kid. So like those are the only fantasy recollections that I have outside of movies and TV shows. So I'm not going to sit here and trash the book. I actually like the book. There's a lot of things I like about that book. I like kind of almost like the historical elements of it, even though parts of that felt as though it could have been knocked down, as it kind of doesn't pertain to the story, but it is in there. I do like the dynamic between the mother and child, between Misaki and Mamoru. I think that they have a really interesting dynamic. I like the family dynamic. There's a lot to teach you about just how, this is using kind of an extreme. I say an extreme, but that this is perfectly normal in Japan in some places, in other places as well. It shows you how women could feel in this situation where they feel like they have to give up their life to live this life of being a mother. And that's kind of like something that society puts on them. While it's different in different cultures, I think the idea of it still is the same. While some cultures are more free, there's still other ways that society in a way has this idea formed of how a woman or a mother should act or be, whether they're restricted to acting the way that Misaki has to be in this book, or just how, if someone happens to be a mom but they do something that's not seen as motherly, people question if they're a bad mother or not. Like it dives into stuff like that, and I think that's very interesting. That really hit me hard, like as someone who is a father, and just thinking about, and I'm married and have my wife, and then a father to a girl, I should mention. So it's just like those kind of things, it just kind of hit me. It's like, okay, these are things I need to think about. These are things that I don't want my family to feel as though, and I say family, it's just because I want two, my wife and my daughter, but I don't want them to feel like they have to not be who they are or be into more women activities or anything like that. And while that's, there's different ways that's explored in this book, I think it's very interesting. It's really just like the structure of it. There's just times where I feel as though something's not needed. There are times where I felt like we went through this long chapter just to find out that it's not, it's just to set up another story, but in reality, we didn't really need all of that information. There's just some things that I felt as though could be edited down. And I don't know if that's a me thing. I don't know if that's what everybody is saying. I'm sorry if I'm repeating anything that people have already said or maybe made whole video essays about. While I'm reading this book, I'm trying to stay away from any type of review as possible. The only reason I'm making this video is just the whole point of this channel is for me to document my thoughts and feelings towards books. And I didn't want to keep doing like, oh, these are my lists and playing. No, I want to talk about the books. I'm ready to talk about the books now. But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel so far about Sword of Kaigen. I think the fantasy aspects in there are pretty cool. I think that we have different characters. It's not like any two characters are the same. I do like that we have that variety. There's just a lot to take away from here. I truly believe like just how the book is written is just not what's jiving with me. That's not to say I don't like the book. I know that, when I was looking into this book before I started reading and trying to think about what I'm going to read, I did see a couple of things where people were, were saying that like how the structure of the book completely took them out of it. And they were like done with it by the first 20 pages, like things like that. That wasn't me per se. There were times I felt as though maybe I'm not ready to read this right now, but as I continue to go on with the story, I think I picked up on a lot of the themes. There are some times where like words are made up, and I understand that that may be typical or usual in fantasy, but this time it just seems like, okay, you could have just said this. Like, it's why are we making up words for that? And then it kind of just throws it off because it's used every sentence, and then you got names, and then you got places, so it gets a little confusing. And once again, I am a brand new reader, so like all of this is new to me. So if this is normal, if this is, you know, it's like you're an idiot, I completely understand. I'm just trying to give my thoughts, just in case other people have those thoughts, just in case. I mean, really, I'm coming to the channel for clarification, for people to say you're stupid, or not, maybe not you're stupid, don't hurt my feelings, but just more so to say, you know, this is how, you know, these things usually go. This is how these things are usually portrayed in fantasy. It does have me, as much as I will say I do enjoy the book, it does have me question how much fantasy I may be into. A lot of the booktube content people I watch are fantasy lovers. A lot of people that I watch on TikTok, I just started like watching TikTok, you know, it may go away at the time of this video. They're still talking about it being banned, but a lot of those people enjoy fantasy. I thought I did. Like, I enjoy Lord of the Rings, I enjoy Harry Potter, I enjoy it, but maybe it's just like this particular fantasy just isn't doing it for me. It just feels as though there's times where the pacing is just off. And like I said, that all could be structure of the book. I don't think it's necessarily the story itself, because I like so many elements of the story. I just think the structure of what I've been reading so far has thrown me off. But those are my halfway point notes about the Sword of Kaigen. As I mentioned, I really thoroughly enjoy like how, I wouldn't say fleshed out the female characters are, but it's not just this is a female character, we just added her in here to take up space and say we have female characters. No, the female characters have personality. Like the three main ones you interact with all have their own like little personalities, and all you get a little bit of all their little backstories at some point. So I thoroughly enjoy that. I like how they interact with the male characters, especially, as I mentioned, the dynamic between Misaka and her son Mamoru. And then even the dynamic between Takaru and Misaki, who that's her husband. I'm not saying that's a good dynamic, but I am saying that how it's written and how that story is told between the two, I think is exceptional. So let me know what you think. I obviously will do a spoiler review and just talk about everything once I get to the end of the book. But those are just like my midway thoughts. And I was wondering, like, did I make a mistake reading this book? But as I kept pushing through, I realized that no, there's a lot to like here. It just may not fit the writing style you're used to, which I have a very toddler-esque writing style that I'm used to. Like I said, reading manga, and then like I haven't read books like this since I was a child. So it just may not be used to it yet. I need to expand my palette, and as I continue to read more, I will enjoy books more. So I'm not really ready, even when I finish this, unless something dramatically happens to push me, you know, one way or the other. I'm not ready to. I just know this isn't the end for me with this book. Once I finish it, I do believe I absolutely need to read it again. It's just a matter of, you know, when will that be? It obviously will not be this year. I need time to read other books and then sit on it and then revisit it. So we'll see when that happens. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.